Hello gamers, I'm NKZL, and in this video I would like to talk about an important topic that will completely change MMORPGs forever. I'm talking about AI. When I say AI, I'm not referring to a simple script similar to what bosses have in dungeons. I'm talking about a machine learning algorithm, which is a specific type of AI. In this video, we will discuss the multiple ways that this will forever change gaming, and I personally believe MMOs as a genre will be the games most affected by this. I understand that not everyone has this kind of technical knowledge, and this will not be that kind of video. I will be explaining things in simple terms, and while this might cause some of these topics to lose some of their nuances, it will guarantee that everyone will be able to follow along and hopefully not fall asleep along the way. Please don't misunderstand me, this is not a theoretical debate. Most of the things I'm going to talk about already exist, and we will see their implementation in the next few years. This video will simply serve as an introduction to what the future holds. And if you want to learn more, there is a massive amount of information out there. If some of these topics interest you, you can always let me know, and who knows, maybe in the future I will do a deep dive into them. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment and thank all the returning subscribers for being here. Thank you very much. If you are a new viewer, welcome to the channel. Feel free to check out my other content and like and subscribe if you want to support me in this hobby of mine. Alright, with that intro out of the way, let's talk about the topic at hand. So, what is a machine learning algorithm? It's a type of artificial intelligence algorithm that uses deep learning techniques and massively large data sets to understand, summarize, generate, and predict. To put it simply, it's a program that learns and gathers knowledge, and it will perform certain tasks based on those things. So how will these AIs help MMORPGs? Well, this type of AIs will have extremely vast applications, and in the future they might even make games on their own after being given a prompt. But since this is not a theoretical discussion, let's talk about what they can do for now. The most important way they will impact games will be by tremendously improving development time. All PC programs involve writing code to some degree. Games often involve hundreds of thousands, even millions of lines of code. When talking about such vast amounts of code, it's easy to see how mistakes can happen. One of the applications of AI will be to debug, rectify, and optimize this code. I will not go into too much detail because it's not very interesting. I just wanted to mention it because it's one of the basic and major applications of AI. Alright, so let's move on to the interesting stuff. The first one will be level design. As an MMORPG gamer, I would like to believe that most of us enjoy having a vast world to explore, a world that feels realistic, and this means that someone has to handcraft this world. One of the major applications of AI will be scaling up an environment. This means that a level designer will only have to create a small part of a biome, use AI to scale it up, and then just apply some finishing touches. We are already seeing an application of this in Unreal Engine 5.2, and we even have some upcoming MMOs that will be using similar technologies to create their world, like PAX Day and Queenfall. How successful they will be is left to be seen, but without a doubt, as technology advances and we move forward into the future, most MMORPGs will be using these features in one way or another. Not only will this allow for companies to pay just a few very talented level designers instead of tens of hundreds of mediocre ones, but it will also improve the speed of development and will allow us to enjoy worlds of a much bigger scale without them feeling repetitive. Keep in mind, these AIs will only be as good as the people that use them. After all, they will be just extensions of their work. However, AI is going much further than this. They will be involved in designing abilities, equipment and animations and fitting them on different models. The applications will be extremely vast, but I feel like just mentioning them is enough without explaining every single detail. What this means is that we will be seeing a lot more variety. From having more races to choose from to enemy types. It will be fairly cheap for companies to offer variety here. Up until these technologies, implementing all this variety meant exponentially more work and costs. This is why we only see one race in the upcoming MMORPGs. It's just not financially viable to make 10 different ones. But as I said, this is all about to change because of the impact AI is having. Imagine this, a designer makes one set of armor and then uses AI to feed this set of armor to 10 different races with a click of a button. And you might say that this is already possible without AI, and that is somewhat true. But without AI, these armors will often require extra work, suffering from clipping, and often enough, the devs need to make sure that this armor set is working with animations and so on. All this work will be now done by AI. If you look at older MMORPGs, most of them suffer from the newer content looking much better than the older one. Most developers don't have the passion to go back and rework all content to bring it up to par to the latest one, and those that do are outstanding in the industry, like Digital Extremes or Pearl Abyss. With AI, this might become the norm, since a good amount of the work that is required will be automated and done by AI. So far this is great, but all it means is that we will be enjoying the same games we are now. They might be improved and delivered to us much faster, and devs may even use AI to make sure all these live services keep up with the times and don't look or play their age. But at the end of the day, this will not be anything revolutionary. So here is where the next application comes in, and I need to warn you that some of you might like it and some of you might hate it. We are starting to see AI being applied to NPCs. For example, NetEase has announced that they are going to implement a version of ChatGPT into their upcoming title, Justice Online Mobile. This might be bad news for people that just skip any kind of interaction with NPCs, but for those that are invested into the lore of an MMORPG they play, this will bring a level of immersion that has never been seen before. And AI will not only be implemented to dialogues, but also for quests and even friendship mechanics that will allow you to request the NPCs to accompany you and help you in your adventures. Personally, I'm not sure if this is an announcement for the sake of marketing, but this is without a doubt possible, and even if NetEase does not do it, other companies will. This is, after all, the future we are heading towards. You can take this information and think of the vast applications that we will undoubtedly see. This can be applied to enemies, be it for boss fights, so the players will need to have a reactive playstyle rather than just predicting what the boss will do, and who knows, maybe to enemies around the world, giving you the opportunity to chat with them and turn certain enemies into allies. Honestly, at this point, the applications seem to be endless. The only limit to this will be the dedication the developers will have for their product, because all these AIs will require someone to teach them and set them up. Of course, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. One harmful application of this kind of AI has already been seen, and it involves creating bots that are basically impossible to tell apart from players, at least so far. Well, just like other technologies we have discussed so far, this is in the beginning stages. We have already seen real applications of this. And if you are curious, you can see the ChatGPT enabled bots in RuneScape. There are a few content creators that already have covered this topic very in depth. Of course, the bots are not yet at a level where we will not be able to tell them apart in a gameplay intensive game, but I believe they will get there someday. Maybe even someday soon. Third-party bots are obviously really bad for any MMORPG. They often ruin the economy and make pay-to-win unavoidable in almost all MMORPGs. On top of that, they take money away from the developers, all things that are destructive to the MMORPG as a genre. Personally, I would like to believe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe AI will be used to detect these bots. Maybe, just maybe, properly trained AI will be able to flag and remove bots way more effectively than any human will ever be able to. So maybe in the future we will finally be able to enjoy a bot-free MMORPG. But maybe this is just a pipe dream. The last application of this AI that I wanted to talk about is bots made by the developers themselves. This might be a contested subject that some will see as bad and some will see as good. But let me ask you this. Have you ever enjoyed an MMORPG with low population? An MMORPG that ended up dying because it didn't have enough players to provide a quality experience? What if these bots will be able to replace players for the sake of enabling content? Bots that will not affect the economy in any way. They would just be there to allow players to enjoy the content when there are not enough human players available. While this might be further in the future, imagine an MMORPG of massive size, with tens of millions of entities, where you wouldn't be able to tell who the AI is and who the players are. The most true representation of a world, and you would just be another entity in this world. If you are worried about the future, I'm going to leave you with a quote by Alfred Korzybski, and it goes like this: "A difference that makes no difference is no difference." Before we conclude this video, I wanted to mention indie developers. All these AI applications will allow a relatively small team to compete with big companies. Right now, I believe that most indie developers, in most cases, will not be able to produce MMOs at the same level of quality as major corporations. I'm sorry, indie devs, this is the truth. However, all these AI technologies will give indie devs the tools that will allow them to create truly high-quality products. And this will mean that we will see a boom of high-quality games from indie communities. As a gamer, this makes me extremely happy. In conclusion, I believe the advancement of AI will, with time, affect our lives in more ways than we can imagine, and they will forever change the quality of our games and the way we enjoy them. Personally, I'm looking forward to the future, and it makes me feel extremely lucky that I was born within a generation that will be able to experience this. What do you think of AI? Are you looking forward to the future, or are you ready to pick up your pitchfork and burn some AI witches? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave me a like and subscribe. See you in the next one, gamers!